Thanks for joining us today. Welcome to the video series on the 6 functions of problem exploration for the change and implementation process. This series is produced by the Capacity Building Center for States and funded by the Children's Bureau. In this module, we're going to break down the second step in problem exploration, create a data plan. Remember, at this point, a team has already identified a problem, and in this video, we will talk about creating a data plan to investigate the problem further, before moving on to collect and analyze the data, identify the possible contributing factors and root causes, explore and validate the possible root causes, or isolate the root cause or causes to address. Let's get started. A team needs to truly understand a problem and its impacts before moving to a solution. Creating a well-thought-out data plan allows the team to outline and communicate how they will explore the identified problem and move toward identifying a possible root cause or causes. There are 5 components that can help teams build the foundation for a comprehensive data plan. The first is research questions. Research questions help teams better understand different pieces of the problem and might include questions about the scope or variations in the problem by groups, services, geographic, and regional differences. For example, a team may ask, does service receipt differ across populations, like children, parents, or foster parents? Who is most at risk of having unmet service needs? For example, individuals with certain needs, mothers, or fathers? Does this problem affect all case types, or is it more frequent in certain cases? Research questions may focus on a single point in time, like the most recent data available, or look for changes over time, for example, the last 5 years. The next component is data sources. Data sources list the existing and new data that will help tell the story of the problem. It is rare that a single source will tell the whole story. For example, teams should explore both quantitative data, which is numerical data that measures, and qualitative data, which is narrative data that explores and provides context. In addition to looking at the availability of data, teams should also look at the quality of those data and their trustworthiness in answering the research questions. Things like, is the data from a reliable and credible source? How current is the data? Is it complete, or does it have errors? The third component is the proposed data analysis. Part of understanding the problem involves understanding the story that the data tells, analyzing it for patterns, trends, and relationships, and then interpreting them or what give the data meaning. For example, comparing frequencies. Teams that don't have strong experience in this area may want to seek out partnerships with others who do. There are also multiple resources outlined in the brief to help teams with selecting the right analysis method and the process of data analyzing. The last 2 components are timelines and roles and responsibilities. Timelines help teams define milestones and determine how long it will take to do the work. This timeline may vary depending on many factors, including the capacity of the team, the data sources that are available, and experience with this process. Defining roles and responsibilities helps the team identify who will participate and lead data collection, analysis, and data quality decisions. Formulating a data plan with these core components helps provide structure and guidance to get the team from identifying a problem to determining root cause or causes. It is important to recognize that while the 5 core components are important to creating an effective plan, not all data plans will look exactly alike. Teams should approach creating a data plan with flexibility. Create what is feasible for your agency. Come to an agreement with your team about the questions that need to be answered to better understand the problem, how you will conduct additional analysis to answer the questions, who will do it, when they'll do it, and what you'll do with the results. The team may discover that it needs specialized help to develop and implement the data plan. If help is needed, there are resources outlined in the problem exploration brief that can offer the team ideas for getting additional assistance. Let's take a moment to check in on the example from the brief. After the agency identified a problem providing services that met the needs of children and families, they gathered a stakeholder team to begin creating a data plan. As a first step, the team developed a set of research questions to help them better understand the problem. As they reviewed existing information, they began to match qualitative and quantitative data sources to each question. To determine whether service receipt differed across populations, for example, children, parents, and foster parents, they will look at quantitative sources like MIS data and case reviews. To find out more about who is most at risk of having unmet service needs, they will use a mix of quantitative and qualitative data, including state and federal data sets like NCANs and AFCARs, and narratives from agency reports. To better understand what, if any, barriers there are to best practice, they will use qualitative data from surveys and focus groups. What other core components can the team work on to build their comprehensive data plan? Remember, the team needs to think about and plan their methods for data analyses, timeline of project milestones, and roles and responsibilities for problem exploration tasks. It sounds like the team is on their way to creating a well-thought-out data plan. What do you think might be their next step in problem exploration? The next step in problem exploration is data collection and analysis. Time to put the data plan into action. Let's take a moment to check in on what we've learned about creating a data plan. Why do teams create a data plan? Teams create a data plan to define how the team will gather and examine data to better understand the problem and move toward identifying possible root causes. How do teams create a data plan? By including the 5 core components: research questions, data sources including quantitative and qualitative, data analyses, timeline, and roles and responsibilities. What can help teams to create a data plan? Approaching the process with flexibility, using existing data sources, and requesting help from partners and specialists when needed. As a reminder, revisit the reflection questions in your problem exploration workbook on Create a Data Plan to connect what you've learned to your own experience. Up next is Collect and Analyze Data, the third function in problem exploration.